Now you're on TV. It's okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes. We all know that in America, the partisan fight is very severe at this moment. But we outsiders, we would really like to know what is the difference, what they're fighting for. Could you give us some orientation?
Actually, after the events of last week, the partisan divide has kind of come together, especially with the more experienced politicians. They're all on the same side with the events that occurred last week. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to make that clear, that the divide is not that the Republicans want a new, that they want to take over the government or something. Even the most powerful Republican, Mitch McConnell, has also agreed, hey, let's impeach this man. He's crazy. He's dangerous. So let me just tell you that actually the events of last week served to actually bring them together. Mm-hmm. So, but what we had, the differences in the two parties, there are quite a few differences that in other times when they're just living a normal life and doing normal legislation, making laws, okay, because that's their job.
Yes, we are asking fundamental difference. What the basic?
I just wanted your viewers to know that they are not divided and fighting for different Americas or to break up the country. They're not. They've actually come together to stand against what they're calling domestic terrorists and to impeach Trump and get rid of him as soon as possible. So anyway,
they agree on this issue now.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Even Mitch McConnell. Mm-hmm. So he and Nancy Pelosi are actually getting along.
So this is why the Trump supporters call him and also Pence. They both are traitors.
Okay, well, you know what? There's one thing that I would like for people to understand as well, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not making this up. The Republican Party has been the minority in America since at least the 80s, 1980 to be exact.
But before,
and currently,
before that,
they're only 38%.
Yeah, but before that, they have ruled for 40 years continuously.
Mm-hmm. Actually, no, because JFK was in the 60s and he was a Democrat.
Yeah, but the majority. Okay. But the topic today is we would like to know the fundamental difference. Could you give us some idea?
Yes. Okay, sure. So, at least for the last 100 years, okay? Before this, you can't compare this to the time of Lincoln and back in the Civil War and stuff, because actually the parties flipped platforms. They traded, basically. Mm-hmm. So today's Republicans are different than back then, and today's Democrats are different than back then. So we're talking about current, okay? Mm. And currently, actually, they overall have a fundamental difference of the Democrats being more focused on the citizens' needs and wants. Mm-hmm. And the Republicans are focused on corporations and capitalism. Mm-hmm. The Republicans, in theory, want a small government, a small federal government that doesn't really interfere with businesses and people's lives, doesn't make too many rules, lets them do kind of what they want. The difference there with the Democrats is that the Democrats aren't really trying to make rules for people to hinder people's lives. They make rules for corporations that are against polluting, okay, and against selling products that are harmful and not being accountable. Whereas Republicans, honestly, Trump has deregulated just about everything Obama did, and he's allowed them to pollute, to sell substandard products, to sell products like with his shower head thing, to sell products that are not water-wise. Things he just doesn't care as long as they give them the Republican Party money, they'll work out. It'll be fine. Okay? So that's on the economic side of things. That it also goes into social, what the needs of the community are. Republicans have this idea that it's based on individual rights and justice. Okay? But actually, this current Republican Party just kind of, they just are hands off. They don't want to deal with anything. They want to just focus on making money and companies. Whereas the Democrats, they have it based on community and social responsibility. Okay, they want to care and make sure that people have good facilities, good schools, or good health care. They are more for like the vaccine. If I honestly believe if the Democrats had been in power, COVID would not have gotten out of hand like this. Trump actually deregulated and disbanded our pandemic response team that Obama had set up. So we had no way, because as the federal government, he said, we don't need this. It's extra spending. We don't need that department. Let's get rid of it. People can deal with that stuff. He didn't even think of what could possibly happen.
Please bring the topic to my question. We're not talking about how to.
I'm giving examples.
Okay.
I'm giving examples. I can't tell you it without giving an example.
Okay.
Now, the Republicans believe in increased military spending, whereas Democrats believe in decreased military spending. Okay. Then on other issues, well, Republicans, they say that they want to stay out of your life, but they oppose gay marriage. They oppose Roe versus Wade, which is the right to have an abortion. Whereas on the other side, Democrats are for your freedom. If you're gay, you can marry who you want. It doesn't matter. And it's legal. And same thing with if abortion is legal. It's up to you what you do with your body.
That's against God.
So this is a contradiction. But no, they can't say that. They can't say that because you can't bring religion into.
Okay.
Into people. You can't force people to believe religion. They just, even though they believe that, and that's what they are trying to enforce on everyone, it's not fair because, obviously, it's not everybody is the same religion, and you can't make them be. Not here. Okay? Then also, there's a difference of another really big one. Okay? I'm giving you the main ones, all right? The death penalty. Okay? Now, Democrats, they do have strong support for the death penalty for people who are mass murderers, things like this, people who are cold-blooded killers. But they also have a huge portion of them that are that don't believe in the death penalty, and that they don't believe in eye for an eye. But most Republicans believe that the death penalty is accurate, and just in the past few months, Trump has accelerated the people on death row's executions. We've had many executions over the past month or so. And the next one, taxes. Taxes are a big difference here as well. Okay, now Republicans tend to favor a flat tax. Like, say it's 10%. They want it 10% no matter if you're a poor person or if you're ultra wealthy with billions of dollars. And also a lot of the time, what Trump has done is he's completely allowed, like Amazon and all these big corporations, to not pay any taxes. He really favors the rich. They pay no taxes. Whereas the Democrats, they favor a sliding tax scale, which is the less you make, the less tax you pay. The more money you make, the higher tax you pay.
It's like Norway.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Like Norway. Democrats are very similar to more, they're not socialists, they're not. But it's democratic socialism. It's more of caring for the people and doing things. You need that tax money to be able to pay for the programs that make this a good country, that make it a good place to live. Okay? So if you don't have tax money, you can't fix the roads. You can't build mass transit. You just can't do these things. Where's it going to come from?
So it comes for me to have two questions. The first question, you don't have the answer if it's too difficult. The second question, we would like to have an answer if you could. The first question is, as Trump was so much for the big companies, for example, Amazon, all these companies, why this time Amazon cut him?
Well, remember, because he's so much for the big corporations, they can tell him what to do. This is the problem with the Republican style, is that the companies then kind of own the government.
Okay.
And they can tell the government what to do. Because now they just won't let him do it. And it's more than anything of cutting him off. They didn't cut him off. They cut off something not related to him. It was just a forum that his people used. It was not Trump's.
I know.
But they did cut off funding. They're not going to be giving funding. But Amazon just canceled they canceled the customer who violated their terms of services. That's all they did.
Okay. My second question is, as so much divided, and also FBI warned the people that there might be armed protesters on the street. So if U.S. people are so much divided, why can't you have a one country, two system?
One country, two system. Well, if you have one country, two system, what is the other system going to be?
This is just the pure, illusion, fantasy. You have blue states, right? You have red states, right? And then blue states, you can carry out the blue states like a democratic party's policy. The red states will carry out the Republicans' policy. Why can't they? They run their own parts of the country.
They already do that at the state level, at state government level. But the federal government, there's an election every 4 years that determines, and then that we elect our representatives that go from our state to Congress every 2 years for the House and every 6 years for the Senate. So it already is that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The states govern themselves.
So in reality, America actually is a country of one country, multiple systems.
It's one country, and yes, it is. Each state has its own government and its own laws. But there are also federal laws that overreach all of them. The Constitution is a federal law. Everything in the Constitution are federal laws. They apply to all the states evenly. But then within a state, they can decide what they want or not.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I understand now. I have another question, is that because the rumor says very much, especially in the Chinese media, that Texas wants to be independent. If that's possible, or how it is going to be if it's going to happen?
Well, if they wanted to be independent, then they're no longer a part of the United States. They're a country. Okay? Mm-hmm. And anything federally funded in Texas, all of the military bases in Texas would be pulled out and back to the United States. They wouldn't get any of that. They would have to start over, get their own military, have their own everything. It would be up to them. They would have to set up trade with us. They would have to have foreign trade. We would be a foreign country to them.
You need a visa.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that possibility is very small. Okay. Anyway, you said the partisan difference is getting very small. And I also recently heard that they're saying about successful capitalist socialism, something like that.
Actually, and I would like to add in, it wasn't just last week's domestic terror attack on the Capitol was kind of like what pushed them over the line. That was crossing the line, and that was the thing that really pushed the parties to come together. But before that, they were already, Trump was dividing them with his rhetoric, but they were already coming together due to COVID-19 happening. Because COVID really created a healthcare crisis in America. And traditionally, like Obama set up Obamacare, low-cost healthcare, and Democrats were for everyone having healthcare equally, you know? And Republicans saw it as a right of the wealthy. If you don't have the money, then you die. But that has changed. That has changed significantly, and now they're coming to the table on that as well. So it looks like we will probably have that. And also the COVID-19 has caused economic problems for the average American, and we're looking at a universal basic income probably coming in as well, which is a very democratic socialist thing. Basic things that people need to live will be provided, which we pay our taxes, and that's how it should be anyway. Anyway, those are the ideas that are coming to the table now, are that, the government, in order for you to have a successful capitalist society, for corporations to succeed, the people need to have the things that make it possible to live a decent life, and then they can buy things, and then they can feed into that capitalist society. If no one has money and people are unhealthy, they can't help to build a capitalist society and make the economy strong. And that is finally being seen. That is something that was first brought up by FDR in the New Deal long time ago. He's the reason we have Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare for elderly and disabled and very poor people, get free health care and retirement fund from the government that you've paid into your whole life. You pay from every paycheck, and then when you retire, you get it back to live on. The Republicans wanted to completely do away with all of these things under Trump. And now it's all come back. They're back at the table and discussing how fundamentally important these things are for our country to succeed and continue being a successful at capitalism, to maintain it. So they see that both sides need to be taken care of. You can't just take care of companies, because the companies become so wealthy and then the people have nothing.
So whose idea this is actually in the whole?
Well, now MSNBC is talking about it, and they have notoriously been neoliberal, which is like very much in the middle, where they lean more right. Our Democrats lean more right. But this was Bernie Sanders. But it's now being presented in a way where it's brought up under the word capitalism and how it will support capitalism. So now they're saying,
I think the word is called a successful capitalism socialist. As capitalist socialism, something like that. Successful.
Exactly. And you know what? Bernie supporters like myself, progressives, and there are many of us, much more than Republicans even. We have been saying this for a long time. So we're fine. We don't care what they call it. As long as they do it, we don't care. They can take credit for it. I don't even care if they just never said Bernie's name with it, and Bernie wouldn't care either. As long as they do it.
Okay,
I would love to see no homeless people. I would love to see no homeless people. That would be beautiful.
Okay, just one things down. Okay, this is what you want. Who takes the credit?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Okay, understand.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for today. It's a very good lesson. And we also welcome anyone in the world, no matter where you live, and to participate with us. Just write to us and write down your comment. You will be in contact. Okay, you will be invited to our show. Thank you so much. Okay. And now I just make some Chinese, and I talk to you later about our private life. Okay.
Oh, one last thing though, dear, was also the immigration difference.
Okay.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. But the immigration difference is
Yes.
Biden has a much loose immigration law, and Trump is tight the country very much. That's a difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He was going towards nationalism, which is much different than patriotism.
Okay. Bye. Bye. 就是刚才呢，我跟奔驰老师谈了谈啊，关于这个美国这两个党的它的区别在哪里，它根本区别在哪里啊？我在这里就是说做一个小小的广告啊。其实我们欢迎所有的人来参加我们的节目，不管你是讲中文，还是讲英文，还是讲日文，还是讲挪威文，跟其他的文我就不行了啊，西班牙语我讲不流利。都可以参加我们的这个讨论啊！你如果有什么意见啊，你要是留言的话，我会很认真的回答你。当然，这个看这些留言的人究竟不多，所以呢，我们是邀请你能够参加我们的这个演出啊。你只要留言啊，我会告诉你这个联系方式，你可以用这个 WeChat 啊，微信或者用这个Facebook 都可以啊。你可以露你的脸，你也可以不露，你也只可以用语音也可以，就是说打电话的这种形式也可以参加我们的讨论啊，使我们的这个意见更加广泛啊。那么今天讲的这个内容呢，就是讲这个其实民主党跟这个共和党的根本区别是，共和党是希望这个政府啊不要干什么事情，越小越好啊，你不要去管那些公司的事情，那些大公司随他自己去发展，而人民也随他们自己去生活啊。但是呢，他同时又关心人民的生活啊，就是说关于这个婚姻问题啊，关于这个同性恋的问题啊，关于这些事情啊。另一方面就是税收的问题，他们之间有区别，还有一方面就是关于移民的问题啊。这个共和党呢，它是一个比较紧的移民政策，而民主党呢是比较松啊。民主党想建立一个比较强大的中央政府啊，这个中央政府就是全面的所谓的关心他们的人民，而且这个民主党是民主党提出这个税收呢是这个你挣得少就交少税，你挣得多就多交税。所以在民主党手里，这个大的公司它会交很多的税，这个税交了以后干嘛呢？税交了以后呢，就帮助所有的这个公共设施啊，这个社群活动啊，人民的生活啊，包括医疗教育啊。事实上呢，这个民主党它是有一点倾向于所谓的资本主义、社会主义，有这种搞法啊。这个比较典型的呢，就是挪威。挪威是一个高福利的社会，我们知道这个医疗不要钱，教育也不要钱，养老也不要钱，甚至这个女人啊，你跟人家生了孩子，你没结婚的话，你单身母亲的话，你所有的钱都是国家负担。但同时它又是一个高税收的国家啊，这个税收确实是根据你的收入的情况，你上哪条线。所以我在挪威工作的时候，到了这个8月份、9月份、10月份的时候，我的会计就告诉我，就是说，如果你是个好人的话，你就继续工作啊，那么你就上了那条线，你就要交49%的税，所以到最后你的收入可能比你现在还要少，因为它有一条线，你超过这条线之前，你的交的税是29%。那么会计跟我算，你今年挣了这么多的钱，那么去掉29%的税，你还剩这么多钱。但是你如果继续工作的话啊，你再过2个月，你可能会挣更多的钱啊。但是呢，去掉49%的税，你剩的钱可能比你现在得的钱还要少。这样的情况都有过啊，就是说。当然我一直表现很好啊，我意思就是说不管税的事情就是尽量工作，因为我也比较喜欢工作，你要我闲着不干活的话那是不行的。所以呢，这个挪威的这个所谓的成功资本社会主义的这样一个方式呢，好像是得到了这个两党的一些共识， 而这个想法其实提出来是这个伯尼桑德斯啊，是个桑德斯这个人提出来的啊。所以奔驰老师跟我讲来讲去的话呢，就是说，事实上呢，这两个党啊，虽然是有很大的差别，在这些上有矛盾，但是最近的是趋向的，两个党都趋向的，就是说统一了，就是大家在这些观点上开始一致了啊。因为以前发现以前一些做法确实行不通啊，这是一个问题。第二个问题呢，就是讲的这个对在川普的问题上。奔驰老师强调，就1月6号以后呢，两党其实是逐渐的统一，已经得到了共识，觉得这个川普啊应该被这个赶快让他下台啊。连这个共和党的大佬麦康奈尔他也同意这样做啊。当然，我觉得奔驰老师他只看到了一面啊，川普我觉得他的存在只是一个偶然，就是他是 happen to be there。他就是偶然的出现在那样一个场地。其实川普主义者有很强大的势力，现在如果说是真的要拿起枪来干的话，我就是讲了，就看他这个支持他的势力究竟有多大的力量。他是几千人上街，如果几千人上街拿着枪，那肯定是不行的。如果说是几百万上街拿着枪的话，那这个事情很难办了。所以我就跟奔驰老师讨论了这个问题啊，就说美国能不能够一国两制啊？这是我们中国人喜欢听这个一国两制，对不对？就说既然美国这两个党啊这么的分离啊，这些人民有这么的分离，而且州有这么的分离啊，红州蓝州分得那么清楚，那为什么不来一个一国两制呢？啊，这个问题呢，我通过奔驰老师的回答，我来总结出来，就说美国不仅仅是一国两制，而是一国多制，因为它是联邦制，每个联邦都有自己的法律、自己的收税的标准啊。美国有两个税收，一个是这个国家税收叫 federal tax， 一个是州的税收叫 state tax 啊。所以我们住在内华达州，因为内华达州呢是比较富有，所以它就没有州税。这个州啊，他自己可以养得活自己，因为我有一个这个叫什么 casino 啊，有这个赌场，对赌场有钱，他就把这政府啊包起来了，说我们老百姓就不要交那个税。但是虽然我们不要交这个州税，我们还是要交这个国税，就是 federal tax， 这个税还是要交的，这是全国统一的。所以美国其实已经是一个一国多制的国家，所以就不存在我所提出来的红州做红州的，这个南州做南州的啊，不存在这样。那么我最后提出了一个问题，就是因为现在最近啊，这个在中文媒体里面炒得很热闹的，就是这个 Texas 啊，这个德克萨斯州啊，它要这个独立啊。我问了这个情况不可能。奔驰老师的回答呢，就是按照美国的法律来说啊，它是可以独立，对吧？美国任何一个州，你要是不高兴啊，你可以独立，因为我们知道这个美国建国，这个250年前建国的时候，当时就是从13个殖民地开始的，它是13个殖民地弄到一起，后来变成14个啊，慢慢扩展，现在50个，每个殖民地变成每一个州，它都是单独的，它都是可以有权独立的。它完全可以独立。当然，这个南北战争的情况不一样啊。南北战争的时候，当时在南边的州，它要脱离北方啊，它就脱离那个 Union， 这个林肯就不肯要打仗，那是为什么呢？那是为了这个南方的州啊，它主要是整个美国的经济来源。它那个棉花是整个美国的经济来源，它要脱离的话，这个北方真的就很难过。啊，那是历史，我们另外再讲。但从目前来说呢，如果德克萨斯州真的要独立的话，它是可以独立的啊。顺便讲一下，德克萨斯州并不是一个很富有的州 ，OK， 它并不是一个非常富有的州。但是按照奔驰的说法，如果德克萨斯州独立的话，那它就不是美国了，它就得不到美国的任何保护啊，美国的这个所有的东西都没有了，包括国防，包括外交，也就是德克萨斯州要建立自己的外交系统以及国防系统，他建立自己的军队了。那么就是说，德克萨斯州跟这个美国就是两个国家。那么这个美国要去打德克萨斯州的话，如果说要打的话，那你就看你德克萨斯有这样的军力没有，对吧？你有没有军力对抗这个美国啊，或者说是这个墨西哥啊，墨西哥把那个墙一推倒，他还过来把这个德克萨斯州收回来啊，变成墨西哥的，那你德克萨斯州有没有这个能力去抵抗墨西哥？还是要 找你的这个原主啊，就美国大哥你来帮忙啊，这个问题就比较复杂了。所以说呢，现在就是说有些中文的媒体啊，尤其是大纪元呐，这些法轮功的媒体提出来，就是说这个德克萨斯州是要独立，还有一些其他的红州也提出来有愿望啊，有这个意向。这个事情呢，我觉得是更多是政治操纵啊，更多是政治方面的一些炒作啊，我觉得从实际上来说会不大容易实现啊，而且美国人民都是有腿的啊，你要是把那个州建好了，当然你要是搞得好的话，大家都会搬家搬到德州去啊，如果这个不好的话，那人都会跑掉，对吧？那你德州没有人，那还搞什么呢？对吧？就是这么个问题啊。今天呢，先跟大家讨论了一些关于这个美国现在的现状啊，一个是特朗普啊被弹劾的事情呢，现在两党基本上达成了共识，要把他赶下台。而赶下台真正的目的呢，是使得特朗普从此以后不再有机会进入到政坛啊，是这个。那么从我的方面来说呢，我是觉得特朗普他并不是一个人，他不是一个个人现象啊，他并不是真的是天选之人选出来一个人，像耶稣一样到地球上非他不可，不是这样的，他是一种现象，他是一个整个美国的有一群人的代表，这个群体还不小。那么现在就是说两边争的话啊，最后就是看哪一边真正的实力大。啊，如果说是这个川普的这些人真的是那么勇猛的话，就是像香港我们叫勇武派啊，他们这个勇武派有足够的人的话，啊，这个矛盾会下个星期吧，我们可以看啊，就会显现出来。如果说是啊，这个他们还是遵守民主的原则啊，民主的原则就是少数服从多数嘛。那么现在你输了，人家是多数，我们就是少数，尽管只比他少一点点，但是你也得服从。你如果说能够遵守这个民主的这个原则，这个 game rule 啊，就是这个游戏规则的话，让他们会安静下来，等到下个4年下一个机会啊。如果不的话，那么干起来的话，我们就不知道将来的结果是什么样的一个情况啊。最后呢，我想讲一讲呢，就是说美国其实是一个非常年轻的国家啊，美国这个国家只有250年，它其实也是一个实验品，所以美国从现在开始发生任何事情都不奇怪啊，它分裂也好，它这个产生矛盾打起来也好，怎么样都不奇怪，因为它是一个非常非常年轻的国家，它还在变化之中，所以呢，我们就是要用一种开放的眼光啊来看待这个国家的变化。OK， 谢谢大家，再见，拜拜。